Lot was Abraham's nephew, introduced to us in Genesis as a man who journeyed with his uncle from Ur to the Promised Land. Lot saw firsthand the blessings that God bestowed upon Abraham. However, the defining moment in Lot's life came when he and Abraham had to part ways. In Genesis 13, after their herdsmen quarreled, Abraham allowed Lot to choose where he wanted to settle. Sodom, despite its prosperity, was notorious for its sin and wickedness. Lot, like many of us, was drawn to the wealth and comfort that came with city life, turning a blind eye to the moral decay all around him. He likely believed that he could maintain his faith and values while enjoying the benefits of the city. This is where we find our first lesson. It's dangerous to assume that we can thrive spiritually in environments that are hostile to our values. Lot's decision to settle near Sodom wasn't just a geographical choice. It was a spiritual one that would shape the course of his life. Lot didn't remain on the outskirts of Sodom for long. Soon, he moved into the city itself, becoming a part of its culture. Over time, Sodom's wickedness began to affect Lot, gradually desensitizing him to the sin around him. By Genesis 19, we see just how much Lot had changed. When two angels come to visit him, the men of Sodom surround his home, demanding to have their way with his guests. In a disturbing response, Lot offers his daughters instead of the angels, a shocking indicator of how deeply the city's corruption had influenced him. Here's the second key lesson from Lot's life. When we immerse ourselves in environments steeped in sin, we risk losing our ability to see clearly and act morally. Lot's decision to live in Sodom ultimately dulled his conscience, making it difficult for him to stand up for what was right. Another striking aspect of Lot's story is his passivity. Despite knowing the evil that surrounded him, Lot never actively opposed the wickedness of Sodom. He tolerated it, hoping to live in peace while avoiding confrontation. But this passivity had dire consequences. When the angels warned Lot to flee the city, he hesitated. It wasn't until the angels physically pulled him and his family out of Sodom that he finally left. His indecision and reluctance nearly cost him his life. This teaches us a vital lesson. Passivity in the face of evil is dangerous. Lot's failure to act decisively nearly led to his destruction. It's a reminder for us today. When we see wrong, we must speak up and act, rather than allow evil to persist unchecked. Even after escaping Sodom, the pull of the city remained strong for Lot's family. As they fled, God gave them a clear instruction: do not look back. However, Lot's wife couldn't resist. She turned to look at the city, and in that moment, she was turned into a pillar of salt. This moment is perhaps one of the most memorable in Lot's story. But why did Lot's wife look back? It wasn't mere curiosity. It symbolized her attachment to the life she was leaving behind. Despite the wickedness of Sodom, she couldn't let go. Her fate serves as a powerful lesson for us. We must let go of the past, especially when it's tied to sin and destruction. Holding on to what God has called us away from will only prevent us from experiencing the full life He has planned. After the destruction of Sodom, Lot and his daughters retreated to a cave in the mountains, where his story takes another tragic turn. Believing they were the last people on earth, Lot's daughters made the desperate and sinful decision to get their father drunk and commit incest, hoping to preserve their family line. This is the final consequence of Lot's poor choices. His daughters, having lived in the corrupt city of Sodom, carried the moral decay of that place with them. Their actions show us that the environments we allow into our lives don't just affect us. They can shape the behavior and mindset of future generations. Lot's inability to fully escape the influence of Sodom had a devastating ripple effect on his family. It's a sobering reminder that our decisions can have long-lasting consequences for those around us, especially our loved ones. So, what can we take away from Lot's life? First, we must be intentional about where we plant ourselves, both physically and spiritually. Lot chose to live near Sodom because it was prosperous, but that decision cost him dearly. Second, the environment we surround ourselves with will either build us up or tear us down. Lot became desensitized to the sin around him because he allowed himself to be immersed in it. Third, passivity in the face of evil is never the right choice. Lot's hesitation and failure to act almost led to his destruction. And finally, we must let go of sinful attachments. Lot's wife looked back at what God was destroying, and it cost her everything. Let her story be a reminder to us all. When God calls us away from something, we must move forward without regret. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into Lot's life and the lessons we can learn from his mistakes. If you found this message meaningful, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more insightful explorations of biblical stories. Until next time, let's strive to make wise choices and always stand for what is right.